Jackson, for today I finally presenting you Isekai quartet track to Australian Wildlife Part 5. Enjoy the video.
This shrimp can cause explosions.
My main goal is to blow up.
Introducing the mantis shrimp, native to the West Indo-Pacific Ocean and possibly the coolest crustacean under the sea, because this fluorescent armored sausage is actually a voracious, bloodthirsty predator rocking enough surveillance equipment to scare the CIA with a weapon powerful enough to surpass Metal Gear. See, the mantis shrimp is a highly effective predator, and they find and track their prey with easily the most advanced set of eyes on the fucking planet. First off, each of these eye stalks can rotate independently like a periscope, giving them a full 360 degrees of vision. However, more importantly, they can see colours we can't. You see, the mantis shrimp's eyes contain a full 15 photoreceptor cones compared to our 3. Which is a fancy way of saying they can see in 16K HDR with ray tracing enabled at 500 render distance.
Oh my PC.
Now, not only is the visual clarity unmatched, they can also see into the infrared and ultraviolet light spectrums. And despite all of this, they still can't find who asked. What they can, however, find is their next meal. The mantis shrimp subsists on a diet of fish, worms, squidward, and, most importantly, Mr. Crabs. Now, crabs famously exist inside of a defensive shell. So, how does this polite little gentleman break into the shell? Simple. He throws hands. That's right, weighing in at only 90 grams and 38 centimeters in length, the mantis shrimp has a punch that produces 15,000 newtons of force. That is 176 newtons per gram. So if a human was capable of that same kind of force, a right hook from someone who weighs 80 kilo would be like getting hit in the face with 6 sticks of dynamite. Now, to produce that force, its claw needs to be moving at 83 kilometers an hour, which is so fast it creates a vacuum in the water called a cavitation bubble, which then immediately collapses at such a speed it creates a mini explosion that flashbangs the target and reaches a temperature hotter than the surface of the sun. Mr. Krabs is getting f***ing disintegrated.
Money, money, money.
Dolphins get drunk. But why? Well, you see, the dolphin is by far and away the smartest animal in the ocean. In fact, they're actually the second smartest thing on the planet, just behind you and me. This means they are smart enough to understand that the ideal way to spend your night is more plastered than Chad and Max on your average Cold Ones episode. Shut up! There is just one problem. Last I checked, there's no bottle O in Bikini Bottom. So, how does a dolphin get fired for all? Simple. They abuse pufferfish. You see, due to the lack of underwater alcohol, dolphins need to find other ways to get their fix, which is where SpongeBob's driving instructor comes in. You see, pufferfish contain this really cool and totally not dangerous substance called tetrodotoxin. What is tetrodotoxin? You know, it's only one of the most potent natural neurotoxins on the f***ing planet. This shit will freeze your heart and lungs in under an hour with a tiny dose, and it's the reason why cooking a pufferfish requires a dexterity check so you don't, hit the poison gland and get yourself deleted. Now, puffers carry this as a defense mechanism as poison accumulates in their organs and skin. Why is that important? Well, you see, I kinda lied. Dolphins don't get drunk. They get high on neurotoxin.
¿Quieres?
Pods of dolphins will bully pufferfish until they inflate, then partake in a literal puff-puff pass. By lightly squeezing the puffer in their mouth, they receive a small dose of neurotoxin, which has a narcotic effect, allowing Flipper here to trip balls before passing the unhappy basketball onto the next submarine stoner. Flipper and friends saw the deadliest neurotoxin on the planet and said, "Fuck it, let me try some of that." This bear was actually a soldier. But how? You see, it was 1942, and the 22nd Polish Artillery Company were passing through the mountains of Iran, on their way to the front lines to fight the Nazis. While passing through a town on their way, they were stopped by a young Iranian shepherd, looking to trade with them for rations and a Swiss Army knife. When the Poles asked what he had to offer in return, the young shepherd produced a burlap sack containing an orphaned Syrian brown bear cub. You see, this bear's mother was shot by hunters, which is how he ended up in a low-tech Pokeball being offered as a trade deal. The Polish looked at the bear and, clearly seeing the potential for insane dad lore, said,
Damn good deal.
and in the most worthwhile trade deal in history, parted ways with their supplies in exchange for a f***ing Pokemon, adopting him into their ranks and naming him Wojtek. And the 22nd immediately set about raising this little man as a proper bear and soldier.
Maggots!
As a baby, they would feed him condensed milk out of an empty vodka bottle, as well as feeding him on the cartoon bear diet consisting of fruit, honey, and marmalade. They also appointed a soldier as his caretaker, who wasted no time in showing Wojtek how to fit in with the rest of the army, teaching Yogi's little cousin to wave, salute, and even march. While not undergoing rigorous military training, Wojtek would hang out with the soldiers. He drank coffee with them in the morning, trained with them in the day, and when they all got shit-faced in the evening, he would f***ing wrestle with them. Do you know how much a brown bear has to love you to wrestle you? On top of double rations, they would also feed Wojtek treats in the form of beer and cigarettes. They let the bear have smoko. Eventually, Army High Command heard about this and were having absolutely none of it. You see, pets were not allowed in the army, which meant Wojtek had to go. Or did he? Because the 22nd Artillery Company officially enlisted him.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
Wojtek was given a serial number and granted the rank of private, so when confronted about the very conspicuous bear in their ranks, they simply went, "That's not a bear, that's Private Wojtek." And Wojtek took his new role very seriously, as during the Battle of Monte Cassino in 1944, Wojtek began using his bulk to transport artillery shells and ammo to soldiers engaged in combat. They had a fucking resupply bear. For his bravery, he was promoted to the rank of corporal, and the 22nd changed their insignia to a bear carrying an artillery shell. This absolute unit smoked, drank, and dropped artillery on the Nazis. Based.